na po yung internet nila, you can still watch naman. Naka-live na po ito sa sa YouTube po natin ngayon. Okay, papalitan ko lang po yung team. Wala lang po ang discussion natin hanggang 3 PM lang po tayo. Palitan ko lang po ng pangalan para mas maayos. Wait lang po. Naayos lang po. Okay, so let's now try to discuss our topic. Again, it's about trigonometric identities. So, but before this, could you please look at this given figure? Could you please try looking at this given figure? What can you say about group A and group B? Sige nga, I'll be giving you 1 minute. What can you say about group A and group B? If may napapansin kayo dun sa dalawang group. Sige nga po. Kung may napapansin kayo dun sa dalawang group, ano po kaya yung pagkakaiba o is there a, may pagkakamukha po ba sila? Or magkaiba po yung dalawang group na po na meron tayong group A and group B? Okay, I'll be giving you 1 minute to analyze the given. And I'll be calling one of your classmates to at least try to answer kung ano po yung pagkakaiba nila kung meron man, or kung ano yung pagkakamukha nila kung meron man. Okay. Okay, ano pong masasabi niyo sa Group A and Group B? Anyone?
Magkakamukha po yung nasa left side nila, tapos po magkakaiba naman po yung nasa right side po nila.
That is for group what? That is for group A or group B? Ken? That is for group
B po.
Group
B.
May group C, group A or group B?
Group B po.
Sa group B, sure ka ba, Ken, na magkakamukha yung nasa left tapos magkakaiba yung nasa right?
Hindi, sir. Yung, I mean po, yung sa group A and group B po, sa left side po nila magkakamukha yung value. Pero po yung sa right side naman po nila, iba-iba po yung value.
At ano sa tingin mo yung tama? Is it group A or group B? Ano sa tingin mo yung tamang values?
Group B po.
Group B, very good. Therefore, yung group A, they do not have the same left and right-hand side of the equation, right?
Yes po.
For group B, they have the same values for the left and the right. Tama ba?
Yes
Okay.
po, sir.
So, pag magkamukha po yung left and right-hand side of the equation natin, we call that as an identity. Again, it is called an identity if it holds for all replacements of the variables for which both sides are defined. Otherwise, if the left-hand side and the right-hand side are not equal or they are not the same when simplified, we call that as conditional equation. That is, a conditional equation holds only for same and not all replacements of the variables. So pag sinabi po natin conditional equations, pag nagpalit po tayo ng x values or ng value ng x po dyan, ay hindi po siya same. Okay, hindi po magiging magkamukha yung left side and yung right side. Is that clear? Okay, let's have here an example. Dalawa lang po yung pamimilian natin ha. It's either, ano nga po yung dalawa? It's either an identity or a what?
Conditional equation.
Conditional equation. Very good. Okay, so let's try to have here an example. Is this a conditional equation or an identity?
Identity po.
Identity po.
How sure are you, Mr. Lumibaw, if this is an identity? Is this an identity or conditional equation?
Identity po, sir. Magkamukha
Okay.
lang po yung right po niya tsaka left.
Are you sure?
Oh,
Okay, so let's try to check if it is an identity or a conditional equation. So remember, if you would like to know if this is an identity or a conditional equation, what you have to do is to plug in values of x. Okay, so kailangan daw lahat ng values, infinite values of x will be the same answer. Kailangan magiging magkamukha lang daw po yung final answer niya. Kasi kung hindi daw po magkamukha yung magiging final answer, therefore, this will now be called a conditional equation. So tingnan po natin kung identity or not an identity. Okay, so let's say when x is equal to 0. Okay, plug in 0. This is 0. 0 minus 1 is equal to 0 squared minus 0. 0 times 0 minus 1 is negative 1. 0 squared is 0. 0 minus 0. 0 times negative 1 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. Is 0 equal to 0? Yes. Therefore, we could say that for this example, it is an identity. But we could not yet stop by just merely looking at one value. Okay, mag-try naman tayo ulit ng panibago. What if when x is equal to 2? Okay, this becomes 2 times 2 minus 1 is equal to 2 squared minus 2. This is 2 times 1 is equal to 4 minus 2 is 2 times 1. 2. Yes. 4 minus 2 is 2. Is 2 equal to 2? Yes. Therefore, we could finally say that it is an, anong tawag natin dito?
Identity.
Or by just merely looking at the given, distribute x. Therefore, it becomes x squared minus x is just equal to this one. And we could say that it is an identity. Let's have another example, okay? And for the second example, could you please try this one? Is this an identity or a conditional equation?
conditional po.
Conditional.
How sure are you that this is a conditional equation?
Identity po.
Yes, Ken? How?
Ano po, i-factor out po muna yun sa
Okay, let's try to write the given. The given is x squared plus x all over x squared plus 2x plus 1 is equal to x over x plus 1. So, Ken, ano nga po yung gagawin natin? What are we going to do with the left-hand side of the equation, which is this one? We need to find a common factor. And for the numerator, what is the common factor? For the numerator, what is the common factor for this one? The common factor would be
x plus 1.
the common factor for this one should be x only. Okay? And x, multiply it to,
X plus 1.
very good, that must be x plus 1 all over. Okay, I have a question. Is x squared plus 2x plus 1 factorable?
Yes po.
And
Yes.
what would be the factor? The factor would be
X plus
X
1.
plus 1.
1 times x plus 1.
1.
Isn't it?
Yes po.
Okay. Is now equal to, or is it equal to x over x plus 1? Let us try to check. Simplify the left side. X plus 1 cancel out. Therefore, the left side now would be x over x plus 1. Is it equal to x over x plus 1? Yes or no?
Yes.
Therefore, what do we call to this equation? We call this as an
Identity.
Identity.
Okay, are we clear?
Yes.
Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay, let's have
Yes po.
the next example. Let's have the next example. How about this one? Okay. Okay, what is your answer?
Conditional equation po.
Conditional po.
Why conditional
Conditional po.
equation? Why conditional equation? So let's try to check. Okay, ito yung gusto kong malaman nyo. The problem is x minus 1. Tama ba? X times x minus 1 is equal to 0. Is that the given?
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay. So sabi ko sa inyo kanina, we could not call this as identity if isa lang yung maging magkamukhang value niya. Tama? O sabihin natin, when x is equal to 0, sige nga guys, tingnan natin ha. When x is equal to 0, this is 0 times 0 minus 1. Is this equal to 0? This is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Is this equal to 0? 0 times negative 1 is 0. 0 is equal to 0. Kung ganyan yung ginawa mo, pwede mong sabihin na agad, ay sir, the left hand and the right hand side of the equations are equal. Sasabihin mo ngayon, therefore, it is an identity, but it is not correct. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo, kailangan hindi lang kayo mag-assume ng isa, kailangan mag-assume kayo ng 2, 3 o mas marami pa para sure ka na kahit na anong replacement ng x ang ilagay mo, the answer will be the same. So let us try when x is equal to 3. Okay, when x is equal to 3, this becomes 3 times the quantity 3 minus 1. Is that equal to 0? 3 times 2, is that equal to 0? This is 6. Is 6 equal to 0? It is not equal to 0. Therefore, since yung una lang yung naging kamukha ng left and right hand side, yung pangalawa hindi na at alam natin na yung mga susunod pa ay hindi na rin, what do we call to this one? We call this as conditional.
Conditional equation.
Are we clear? Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay. Have an example. I'll be giving you 2 minutes to identify whether it is a conditional equation or an identity. Okay? Sorry, nawala. Okay, let's try to answer. Okay, let's try to answer one by one. Is letter A a conditional equation or an identity? It is
Conditional.
Conditional.
very good. It is conditional. What for letter B?
Conditional.
Conditional.
Again, it is a
Identity.
conditional.
Ayun.
Ay, ano naman yung background music mo? Mukhang may kumakanta pa ata dyan. Okay, for letter B, what is the... For letter B, again, it is what?
Conditional equation.
Because the left hand is not equal to the right hand side of the equation. Okay? So, how about for the third one?
Identity.
Identity po.
The third one is an identity because the third one is just the factor of each other. Tama po ba? How about for letter D? Kung nag-advanced reading nga po kayo, sige, what is the answer for letter D? Is this an identity or a conditional equation?
Identity po.
Is this
Identity po.
okay, how?
Kasi po yung tan x po is equals po siya sa sin x over cos x. Tapos po yung sec x naman po is equals to 1 over cos x. So, ang magiging value po nun sa right side po is cos x sin x over cos x. Cancel po yung cos x, matitira po yung sin x.
Very good, Ken. So that is the correct answer, okay? So that is for our future topic. So alam mo na din kung ano yung value ni tangent at ni secant. So that is very clear to you. So sa iba, I will discuss it again para mas ma-visualize nyo or mas ma-imagine nyo kung bakit yung letter D is an identity. Okay po ba yun? Okay, so that ends our lesson for identity and conditional equation. So let's now move on with our topic for today. So, hanapin ko lang po yung aking PowerPoint presentation for our topic for today. Maliwanag po ba yung conditional and ating identity? Maliwanag po ba yun?
Po.
Okay.
Opo.
I hope that that is clear. So let's now move on. So ulitin ko lang po. Okay, burahin ko lang po ito. So our next topic is circular function. So sa circular function, dito na po natin yung makukuha yung iba't ibang trigonometric functions natin. Okay, so sa circular functions po, may tinatawag po tayong unit circle. So alam ko kasi di ko na-discuss ito sa klase nyo. Okay, sa unit circle po, pag sinabi nating unit circle, the radius is equal to 1. Okay, if this is the radius, therefore, its value is 1. Okay? So, this is A, and this is B. If this is point W, what is the coordinate of point W? If this is A, the horizontal value is A, the vertical value is V, the radius is 1, what is the coordinate of the point W here? What is the coordinate? Hi, what is the coordinate of W here? Point W. What is the X and Y coordinate? Anyone? This is point W. Mula dito sa 0 papunta dito is A. Mula dito kay 0 papunta dun sa taas is B. The radius is 1. What will be the coordinate of W? Yes, Ken, what is the coordinate of W?
A and B po.
Very good. That should be AB. Okay? It should be AB. That is now the coordinate of W. Last time, for the unit circle, remember that when we have here, W is just also equal to sine theta, cosine theta. And that will be the coordinate of point W. So, this is now our angle, theta. Kukunin ko ngayon yung triangle natin para mas malaki. Palalakihin natin dito. This is our triangle. This is A. This is B. Okay, this is A. This is B. And what is the value of this one? The value of this one is
C po.
1. Diba? Because it is a unit circle, the radius is 1. And this is now our angle theta. So we have the first circular functions or trigonometric values or trigonometric functions. So we have here sine theta. We also have cosine theta. We also have tangent theta. Okay. Sine theta, its co-function is cosecant theta. Or, ganito po yung symbol niya. Sa cosine theta po, siya naman po ay secant theta. At ito naman po yung symbol niya. Secant theta. Sa tangent theta po, that is cotangent theta. Or cot theta. So, anim po yan. Sin theta, cosine theta, tangent theta, ang kapartner ni sine si cosecant theta, ang kapartner ni cosine si secant theta, ang kapartner ni tangent si cotangent theta. Maliwanag po. Maliwanag po ba itong anim na to? Ang tawag po natin dito ay fundamental identity. We call this as fundamental identity. Isa-isahin po natin. But before this one, nung junior high school po kayo, may naaalala po ba kayong SOHCAHTOA?
Yes po.
Naalala po ba SOHCAHTOA?
Yes po.
Okay, sulat ko ulit si SOHCAHTOA. When we have SO, that is sine theta. And sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Tama po ba? When we have that, that is cosine theta. And that is adjacent over hypotenuse. And when we have to, that is tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Okay. Since this is a reference, kuhanin natin yung mga values ng bawat isa. What is sine theta? Sine theta, so, opposite, this is sine theta is now equal to what is the opposite side? That is B. How about the hypotenuse, which is 1? Therefore, pwede nating sabihin that sine theta is equal to B. Okay po ba? Okay. And for this one, cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Cosine theta, this is our theta, which is the adjacent side. Pag sinabi nating adjacent, katabi. Ano po yung katabing side niya? A. Very good. Therefore, that is A over. What is the hypotenuse? 1. Therefore, cosine theta is now just equal to
A.
A. Okay, A. Tangent theta. Pag sinabi nating tangent theta, that is TOA. Opposite over adjacent. And what is the opposite side? That is B. What is the adjacent side? That is A. And this is now the value for our tangent theta. Sine theta, cosine theta, tangent theta. Okay po ba? Okay. So may tinatawag naman po tayong reciprocal identity. Okay, para hindi po kayo madlito, ito po yung reciprocal identity. Pag sinabi po nating sine theta, it is also equal to 1 over cosecant theta. Kasi sila po yung magka-partner. Pag ito po si sine theta, equal naman po siya sa reciprocal ni 1 over cosecant theta. E paano naman po, kunwari, sinabi ko, what is cosecant theta? Saan naman kaya equal si cosecant theta? Cosecant theta is equal to
1 over sine theta.
very good. That is 1 over sine theta. E paano pag tinanong kita, what is cosine theta? What is the reciprocal? That is 1 over
Sec theta.
secant theta. Very good. Okay? Actually, this is secant, not secant. Secant theta. And for the next one, what is secant theta? Secant theta naman should be 1 over
Cosine theta.
cosine theta. Okay. And for the last one, we have tangent theta. What is tangent theta? That is 1 over
Cotangent theta.
cotangent theta. And that is, cotangent theta is now equal to 1 over
Tangent theta.
tangent theta. Okay. So may tinatawag naman po tayo ngayon na quotient identity. Okay, pangatlo na to ha. Ano yung una natin? We have fundamental identity or basic identity. We have the reciprocal identity, and the third one is quotient identity. Ano ba alam nyo pag sinabi natin quotient? Pag sinabi natin quotient, ano?
Sagot po sa pag-divide.
Very good. Sagot sa pag-divide. Eh, dapat magdi-divide tayo ngayon. Pag sinabi natin quotient, there must always be a fraction. O, tatandaan nyo ha? The keyword here is fraction. Okay. So, pag sinabi natin quotient identity, punta po tayo ngayon dito. Sabi natin kanina, sin theta is equal to B. Isa-isahin ko lang po. Kasi gusto ko matutunan nyo din kung paano mag-analyze. Sa pamamagitan lang nito, di ba, napalabas natin lahat yan. O sin theta is equal to B. Sabi dito. Cosine theta is also equal to A. Eh, biglang sinabi, tangent theta is equal to B over A. Eh, ano po ba yung equivalent ni B? Ano yung equivalent ni A? Therefore, tangent theta is equal to, saan equal si B?
Sine
Sin theta. Saan naman equal si A?
cosine theta.
Oh, napalabas po ba natin si sin theta over cosine theta?
Yes.
Yun po ngayon si tangent theta. Yun kanina yung binigay kong example sa inyo. Maliwanag? Okay.
Opo.
Kung si tangent theta ay equal kay sin theta over cosine theta, saan naman po equal si cotangent theta? Kay
Cosine.
Tito? Di ba si tita? Ito si tita. Kay Tito? Kamukha naman siya ni Tito? O, di ba hindi? O, kasi joke yun. O. So, pag sinabi natin cotangent theta, it is now equal to kabaligtaran, reciprocal. It is equal to what?
Cosine theta.
Cosine theta.
Sin theta
Over
over
sine theta.
Sin
Sine
theta.
theta.
very good. Therefore, ilan na meron tayo?
Dalawa.
Ano na, di ba? 6 na basic identity, fundamental identity, 6. Yung sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. Ilang reciprocal? 6 na reciprocal ulit. At ilang quotient? 2 quotient. Ang huli naman po natin is what we call as the Pythagorean identity. Bakit kaya siya tinawag na Pythagorean identity? Kasi, sa tingin nyo, bakit siya tinawag na Pythagorean? Ay, hindi pala nababasa. Bakit siya tinawag na Pythagorean identity?
Kasi po gagamitin ng Pythagorean theorem.
Okay, tama. Kasi we will be using Pythagorean theorem. Based on this one, this is our triangle. Kukunin ko lang ulit yung triangle na to. This is theta, this is A, this is B, this is 1. What is our Pythagorean theorem? C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. Okay. What is C squared? Given this one. What is C squared? Given this one.
1 po.
1. That is 1 squared is equal to A squared plus B squared. Okay, guys. Balik tayo. Alam niyo na ba yung value ni A sa ni B? Yes or no?
Yes po.
Yes. And that must be what? That is...
Sin theta sa cosine.
Very good. This becomes what is 1 squared? 1 squared is equal to 1. A is sine theta. Tama po ba? A is cosine theta. Tama? A is cosine theta. Therefore, this is cosine theta squared. Plus, what is RB? RB is
Sin theta.
sine
Sin
theta
theta po.
squared. Therefore, this is 1 is equal to cosine theta squared. Kapag po nag-i-squared tayo ng trigonometric functions or circular functions, hindi po yung angle yung nai-square. Ang nai-square po yung mismong function. So, andun po yung square. Maliwanag po. And then this is theta. We read this as cosine squared theta. Is this clear? Okay.
Yes po.
Oh, ano naman dito? Kung ganun pala yung ginawa natin.
Sine squared
Sine
theta.
squared
Sine
theta.
squared theta. Okay? Therefore, the first Pythagorean identity is sine squared theta, aayusin ko lang po para mas maganda, plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. Tatandaan nyo na palagi na yan yung first trigonometric identity natin. Is this clear? Okay.
Yes po.
For the second trigonometric Pythagorean identity, this should be Pythagorean identity. All you have to do is susulat mo muna yung first identity. The first identity is sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. And what do you do now? You need to divide both sides or all the terms by sine squared muna. Sine squared theta. Sine squared theta. Sine squared theta. Okay, let us simplify. What is sine squared theta over sine squared theta?
1 po.
1 plus, what is cosine squared theta over sine squared theta? Cosine over sine. Pag may fraction, anong tawag natin doon? Quotient. E doon ka sa quotient identity titingin. Ano po yung may cosine sa sine?
Cotangent.
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 Cotangent lang ba? Eh di ba naka-square yan? It should be cotangent squared theta. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is now equal to, what is 1 over sine squared theta? Ay, may 1 sa taas. Dapat, this is a reciprocal. Saan po equal yung 1 over sine? 1 over sine is
Cosecant.
cosec.
Cosecant.
Therefore, this should be cosecant lang ba?
Squared theta po.
Squared theta.
Squared.
And this is the second trigonometric or Pythagorean identity. Are we clear?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes
And
po.
for the last one, ganun pa rin yung gagawin natin. Write down the first Pythagorean identity. Write down the first Pythagorean identity. But this time, what is the value that will be the denominator of all the terms? What is that value?
Cosecant squared
Cosecant.
theta.
It should be cosine. It should be cosine squared theta over cosine squared theta over cosine squared theta. Yun lang po. Sa una, sine. Sa pangalawa, cosine. What is sine over cosine? Quotient identity. What is sine over cosine squared theta?
Tan squared theta po.
Tan squared theta. Plus, cosine over cosine.
1.
1.
1 over cosine squared theta. Reciprocal. 1 over cosine, that should be
Secant
theta.
squared
therefore, that secant squared theta. This is now the third and the last Pythagorean identity. Pwede ko na po bang burahin to? Tapos sulat ko lahat dito? Okay lang po ba? Para hindi kayo malito? Sulat ko lahat? Okay. So, hindi ko na buburahin yung reciprocal identity, ah. Simulan ko na lang sa fundamental identity. Babasa ba? Okay, that is sine theta, cosecant theta, cosine theta, secant theta, tan theta, cotangent theta. Fundamental, ano po yung next natin? Reciprocal. Okay? Fundamental, reciprocal, yung third natin is quotient. Okay. Quotient identity. For the quotient identity, this must be what? Tangent theta is equal to sine theta over cosine theta. Cotangent theta is equal to cosine theta over sine theta. Okay, is this clear? Okay, and for the last one, yung Pythagorean identity, actually sobrang dali lang talagang kabisaduhin. Yung Pythagorean identity natin, lagay ko na lang dito. Okay, for Pythagorean identity, number 1, sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta is equal to 1. 1 plus cotangent squared theta is equal to secant squared. Secant ba? Cosecant. Should be cosecant squared theta. This should be tangent squared theta plus 1 is equal to secant squared theta. Okay? Yan po yung mga identities na meron tayo. Tandaan nyo na lang po. Okay. So, may di-discuss din po ako sa inyo. Table of signs. Table of signs. TOS. This is our quadrant. Sa ating quadrant po, pag nagne-name tayo ng quadrant, counterclockwise. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Okay. Remember na itong mga values po na to, sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent, lahat po sila ay positive, all positive kapag sa quadrant 1. Kapag sa quadrant 2, ang positive lang po dito ay si sine, rather, this is sine, and si cosecant. Kapag dating naman sa quadrant 3, ang positive lang po dito ay si tangent and cotangent. Pagdating naman po sa quadrant 4, ang positive lang po dito ay si cosine at si secant. Paano po yun? Okay, kunwari po, meron akong 30 degrees. Pag hinanap nyo po yung sine 30 degrees, lahat positive siya dito. Lahat. Sine 30, sine 70, cosine 30, tangent 30, lahat po siya ay positive. Since sa quadrant 1 po siya matatagpuan. Maliwanag po ba yun? Maliwanag po ba yun?
Opo.
Pag sinabi naman nating 120, yung 120 saan magpo-fall? Sa second quadrant. Sa second quadrant, pag sinabi nating sine 120, positive siya. Pero pag sinabi nating tangent 120, magiging
Negative.
negative. Kasi dito ngayon siya magpo-fall. Is that clear? Okay. E paano naman po, kunwari, meron akong 210. Yung 210 magpo-fall sa third quadrant. Paano pag meron akong cotangent 210? Is this positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive. E paano po kunwari meron akong cosine 210? Positive or negative?
Negative.
Negative. Okay. E paano kunwari meron akong 330? Andito po ba yung 330?
Yes po.
Okay. So, pag sinabi ko pong tangent 330, what is the sign?
Negative.
Negative. O, maliwanag na po yung table of signs? Maliwanag na? Okay.
Yes po.
So, since maliwanag na, let us now try simplifying. Mag-simplify po muna tayo. Okay. Kunin ko lang po yung example ko. Mag-simplify po muna tayo. Okay. Pakisagutan nga guys, tingnan natin. Here is the technique on how you could simplify easily. Remember, makinig mabuti, when you are simplifying, kailangan ang isi-simplify lang natin is yung mga terms na hindi naka-express kay sine at kay cosine. Kapag may nakita kang sine and cosine, check na yon, okay na, wag mo nang galawin. Kasi kailangan palaging si sine at si cosine yung mapapalabas natin. Okay, just like this one. Example number 1. Can you see cosine and sine?
Yes po.
Yes. Okay. So, ibig sabihin, hindi na natin siya gagalawin. Tama po ba?
Opo.
Okay. What is tangent? Express tangent having cosine and sine. What is tangent? Tangent is equal to?
Sine theta over cosine theta.
Very good. That is sine theta over cosine theta. And then multiply this to cosine theta and divide all the values by sine theta. Simplifying sine theta over cosine theta times cosine theta, what happens? It cancels out. Therefore, ano pong natira sa ibabaw? Sine theta. Anong natira sa ilalim? Sine theta. And what is sine theta over sine theta?
1.
1.
Very good. Therefore, the answer for number 1 is 1. There is another technique. Okay, another technique. Iwanan si tangent, pagsamahin si cosine over sine theta. And what is cosine over sine theta? Cosine over sine theta is reciprocal or quotient. What is cosine over sine? That becomes
Cotangent.
cotangent. Pag sinabi natin cotangent theta, saan equal yung cotangent? That is equal to 1 over tangent theta. E di, ibig sabihin, ito pala ay equal lang kay 1 over, 1 over tangent theta. Simplifying, this becomes tangent theta times 1 over tangent theta. What happens? Tangent theta will cancel out and we will be left with 1. Is this clear? Maliwanag?
Opo.
Way pa yun, ha? Dito naman tayo sa baba. We have cosine theta over. Ay, cotangent na to. Saan ba equal si cotangent? Quotient.
Cosine theta
Cosine
over sine
theta
theta.
over sine theta. Okay. Maiwan si cosine theta sa taas. I-multiply natin kanino? Reciprocal kay sine theta over cosine theta. Naiintindihan po ba kung bakit naging ganito ito?
Opo.
Yes.
Okay, ano mangyari? Cancel cosine, therefore what is the answer?
Sine theta.
Sine theta.
Theta, and that is the correct answer. Are we clear? Okay, let's have another
Opo.
example. What if we have the third example is cosine squared theta plus cosine squared theta tangent squared theta. Okay? We are given an example, cosine squared theta plus cosine squared theta times tangent squared theta. All you have to do if you are given multiple problems or multiple terms na magkakasama is to find out what? To find out its common factor. And what is common between cosine squared theta plus cosine squared theta tangent squared theta? What is common? What is common? Cosine squared theta. O, ilabas natin ngayon si cosine squared theta. Multiply natin na kanino? Nawala si cosine squared theta. Therefore, it becomes 1. Tama po ba?
Opo.
Plus, nawala si cosine squared theta dito. Sinong natira? Tangent squared theta. But, we know that this is a Pythagorean identity. Therefore, this becomes cosine squared theta times, what is 1 plus tangent squared theta? 1 plus tangent squared theta is equal to
Secant.
secant squared theta. But, we know that secant squared theta is a reciprocal identity of
Cosine squared theta.
1
Cosine theta.
cosine squared theta. Cancel cosine squared. What will now be the answer? The answer will be,
1.
1.
and that is the final answer. Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay, let's have another example. For the last example for this one. So last na to for this one. Tapos patuloy tayo sa huli natin. That is 1 plus tangent squared theta. Nakikita pa po ba? Over
Opo.
1 plus cotangent squared theta. I'll be giving you 1 minute to analyze. 1 plus tangent squared theta over 1 plus cotangent squared theta. One minute lang, ha? Wala naman pala nagko-comment. Okay na? Nag-message kasi sa akin. Ay! Ayoko naman pabasa iba. Okay, what is the answer? What is the answer? Okay, so isa-isahin natin, himay-himayin natin, guys. Doon tayo sa numerator. Sa numerator muna tayo. Sa numerator, sabi this is 1 plus tangent squared theta. It is a Pythagorean identity. At saan equal tong Pythagorean identity natin?
Secant
Secant squared
Very
theta.
good. It is secant squared theta over. The denominator is also a Pythagorean identity. And that is
Cosecant
squared
squared
theta.
theta.
Based on this one, these are both reciprocal identities. Saan equal si secant squared theta?
1
1
over
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 cosecant theta.
Cosecant squared theta.
1 over cosine squared theta. Tama ba?
Opo.
Opo.
Over, saan equal si cosecant squared theta?
Sin
1
Over
over
sine squared theta.
sine squared theta. And this is now equal to, it is now equal to 1 over cosine squared theta, multiply it to sine squared theta over 1. Tama po ba? So pag pinag-multiply po natin yan, cancel si 1, ang matitira po sa atin is sine squared theta over cosine squared theta. Tama?
Opo.
At
Opo.
saan po equal si sine squared theta over cosine squared theta?
Tan squared.
Tan squared
And that
theta.
is the final answer. Tan squared theta is the final answer. Is this clear?
Yes po.
Okay. So, sige, screenshot nyo muna bago ko burahin para may kopya kayo. Kasi magpapatuloy na tayo ng last part. Okay na po? Na-screenshot na?
Opo.
Yes.
Okay. So, let's continue our discussion. Paano kunwari, binigyan ka naman ng given na value, tapos, ang papagawa sa'yo is papahanap yung lahat ng fundamental identity. Papahanap si sine, si cosine, si tangent. So, dalawa lang example na to, tapos na po yung klase natin. Okay. So, for this one, if tangent x is equal to 24 over 7, and sine x is less than 0, find all the other circular function values at x. Okay. If you are given this one, all we have to do is to analyze first. Okay, analyze muna natin. If tangent x is 24 over 7, sulat natin. Tangent x is equal to 24 over 7. Ito pong x na to, para din siyang si theta. It is a measure of angle. Kahit anong palit dyan na letter, angle pa rin siya, ha? Baka malito kayo. Okay, tangent x is equal to 24 over 7. Is tangent x positive or negative? Sagot.
Positive po.
Positive. Okay. Punta tayo sa second condition. And sin x is less than 0. So ano po yung ibig sabihin ng sin x is less than 0? Is this positive or negative pag sinabi nating less than 0?
Negative.
Ano?
Negative.
Negative.
Okay. Okay, tingin tayo guys. Sabi si tangent daw positive pero negative si sin x. Saan po nating quadrant matatagpuan na positive si tangent pero negative si sin? Which
Third quadrant.
Third quadrant. Sulat mo. Sa quadrant 3 pala nating malalaman yon. Okay. Therefore, this is quadrant 3. If this is the quadrant, andito po ngayon siya. And this is our angle x. Ganito po yung pag-graph natin, ha? Pag tumama naman po siya sa first quadrant, ganito po yung magiging itsura niya. Pag tumama po siya sa second quadrant, ganito po yung magiging itsura niya. Kapag tumama sa third quadrant, ganito. Pag tumama sa fourth quadrant, ganito. Maliwanag. Lagi pong katabi yung x-axis. Hindi siya tatabi sa y, yung triangle natin. Maliwanag po yun? Okay. If that is the case, we could say, pinapahanap po sa atin, ano yung value ni tangent x? Meron na po. Ni cotangent x, hindi pa natin alam. Ni sin x, hindi pa natin alam. Ni cosecant x, hindi pa natin alam. ni cosine x, hindi pa natin alam, at ni secant x. Yan po yung ibig sabihin ng other circular function values at x. But then, pag binigay na yung tangent, for example, sinabi, tangent x is equal to 24/7, dapat alam mo na agad yung value ni cotangent x. At ano po dapat yung value ni cotangent x kung binigay si tangent x? Cotangent x should be 7.
7/24.
But, is this positive or negative?
Positive po.
Very good. It should be positive. O tatandaan nyo, sa lahat ng circular function, ito lang dapat yung magiging positive. Maliwanag. Ito lang dapat ang magiging positive. Okay? Okay. Lahat ng masosolve natin na iba dapat ay negative na. Since hindi na natin magagamit yung iba pang identity dito, all we have to do, okay, sabi, sin x is equal to 24/7. Eh, di ba pag sinabi natin, ay tangent x, I mean. Pag sinabi natin tangent, that is TOA, opposite over adjacent. Tama po? This is x. What is the opposite side? This is 24. Tama po ba?
Opo.
Opo.
Adjacent. Therefore, this is 7. Tama?
Yes po.
Okay. So, for this one, gusto ko, dalawa po kasi yung method natin. Gamit po muna tayo ng Pythagorean identity kung saan meron po tayong tangent. Since tangent is the first given. Ano po yun? Ito po ba pwede natin gamitin?
Yes po.
Okay.
Opo.
Pag ginamit natin to, makukuha agad natin si secant. Maliwanag? Okay. So, in this case, gamitin po natin siya. Tangent squared x na po yung mangyayari. Plus 1 is equal to secant squared x. Since hindi na theta yung gagamitin natin. But what is tangent x? Tangent x is 24/7. Pero ang hinahanap po sa atin is naka-square dapat. Maliwanag kung bakit naka-square?
Opo.
Plus 1 is equal to secant squared x. 24/7 squared. What is 24 squared? 24 squared is 576. Pakicheck nga po kung tama.
Tama po.
7 squared is 49. Plus 1 is this, and now the right side is secant squared x. 576/49 plus 1, pwede po nating palitan si 1, gawin po nating 49/49 kasi 1 lang din siya. Since they have the same denominator, this becomes now over 49. 576 plus 49 is 625. And it is now equal to secant squared x. Tama po ba? 625/49.
Opo.
Opo.
Get the square root of both sides. Get the square root of both sides. And this becomes plus minus 25/7. And that is secant x. Ano pong pipiliin natin? Si positive po ba o si negative side?
Negative
Negative
po.
po.
Negative. Therefore, sulat na po agad natin dito. Secant x is equal to negative 25/7. Kung may secant na po tayo, dapat alam mo na yung value ni
Costa.
cosine. Very good. And cosine x now must be negative 7/25. Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay. So, may tangent tayo, may cosine tayo. Punta tayo sa quotient identity. Sulat ko po dito yung quotient natin, ha? Okay. Sa quotient identity, gusto ko gamitin natin si tangent. Tangent x is equal to sine x over cosine x. What is our tangent x? Our tangent x is 24/7. Tama po ba?
Opo.
Our sine x, hindi pa natin alam. Pero alam na natin si cosine x. And what is cosine x? Negative 7/25. Cross-multiply. Pag cross-multiply po natin yan, this becomes 24/7 times negative 7/25. Ano pong mangyayari?
Makakancel.
Cancel 7, cancel 7. Therefore, the answer is negative 24/25. And negative 24/25 is now the value of
Sin x.
sin x. O, sulat natin. Sin x is now equal to negative 24/25. Kung meron na po tayong sin x, kailangan meron din tayong
Cosine.
cosecant, not cosine, cosecant x. And cosecant x must be negative 25/24. And these are now the values of the 6 circular function values at x. Maliwanag po ba ito?
Opo.
Opo.
Oh, ano naman, sir, ano naman po yung isang method? Okay. Sa isang method, kumpletuhin po natin yung triangle. Dito po sa triangle, anong natitira?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. O, hindi pa natin alam yung hypotenuse. But then we know that the formula for hypotenuse is c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. Tama? What is our c squared? Unknown. What is our a squared? 7 squared. What is our b squared? 24 squared. Therefore, c squared is equal to 7 squared, 49. 24 squared, 576. 49 plus 576 is 625. Therefore, what is the value of c? C is the square root of 625 and that is 25. Maliwanag. O, eto po, pwedeng isa-isahin mo. So, katowa. Sin x is equal to, what is sin x? So, opposite over hypotenuse, 24 over 25. But, positive o negative ba siya sa quadrant 3? Negative 24 over 25. Eto po siya. Maliwanag. Cosine, ka. Cosine x is adjacent. Adjacent is 7. Hypotenuse is 25. But this is quadrant 3, negative. Negative 7 over 25. Are we clear?
Yes po.
Okay. So that is how we solve for the circular values or circular function values at x. It's now your turn to answer. So isa lang yung sasagutan. Bigyan ko kayo ng example ng sasagutan nyo. Okay. Burahin ko na po to or screenshot nyo po muna. Screenshot nyo po muna para may copy kayo. Okay na? So for the last example, this must be sin x. If sin x is equal to negative 3 over 5 and secant x is greater than 0, find all the other circular function values at x. All you have to do first is to identify the quadrant. I'll be giving you 3 minutes to answer this one, and then let's discuss your answers. Again, so you can choose between the two methods by the Pythagorean identity or by just merely completing the right triangle. Maliwanag po ba? Maliwanag po?
Yes po.
Okay. Meron na din yung ano. Oh, lahat ng laptop. Okay, saan quadrant natin ito matatagpuan?
Quadrant 4.
Very good. Nakakatuwa. Alam niyo na. Bakit? Ano yung pinagbasihan nyo? The second condition. Kasi di ba sabi sa atin, yung secant x daw is greater than 0. Therefore, secant x must be
Positive.
very good. Therefore, we could find it sa quadrant 4. Maliwanag. Titingnan natin kung magkakamukha kayo ng answers, ha? Siyempre, kung ako kasi tatanungin, pareho lang din naman na okay yung dalawang method. Pero mas sure yung Pythagorean identity. Pero mas mabilis yung completing the triangle, 'di ba? So same lang din naman sila na Pythagorean yung gagamitin, pero kasi dun sa triangle mas mabilis since hindi ka na mag-iisip kung ano yung Pythagorean identity na gagamitin mo kasi sa triangle applicable na siya lahat, hindi ka na magko-quotient identity. So, pero nasa sa inyo pa rin naman 'yun. Mas magiging accurate lang din kasi yung answer, mas madaling sabihin kung tama or mali kapag Pythagorean identity yung ginamit. Pero kailangan maging familiar din tayo with the quadrants, table of signs ng quadrant natin para hindi tayo malito. Okay, so do you now have the answers? Do you now have the answers? Okay, sulat na natin. Alam na natin na si sin x is si negative 3 over 5. Eh di may partner na siya agad, di ba? May tama ka na agad, may 1 point ka na agad kasi alam mo na dapat yung value ni cosecant x. And what is the value of cosecant x?
Negative 5 over 3.
Very good. Okay. So, sino yung sinunod nyo na hanapin? Siguro sinunod nyo na hanapin is, dahil sin yung given, sinunod mo na hanapin si cosine. Tama? So, what is the value of cosine x? Adjacent. That should be positive 4 over 5.
5.
Tama? If that is 4 over 5, secant x now would be 5 over 4.
5 over 4.
For the tangent, so we have tangent x. Tangent x must be
Negative 3 over 4.
Negative
negative what?
3 over
3
4.
over 4.
3 over 4. And for cotangent x, that it must be negative 4 over
4 over 3.
Okay. Pag rinaf po kasi natin siya, quadrant 4 siya. So, andito siya. So, in this case, this is x. This is sin x. Therefore, it becomes 3. This is 5. This is 4. Tama po ba yung pag-graph nyo? Yes or no?
Okay.
Ganito po ba yung naging graph or illustration nyo ng values?
Yes po.
Okay, and that is now our lesson for today. And to end our lesson, could you please try answering these exercises? This is your assignment. This is your assignment. Paki-screenshot na lang po. Stop ko na po